All right, everybody. We are live here. It is August 11th, and we are on the verge of the Giants and the Jets clashing in Florham Park and East Rutherford in a home and home practice schedule for the two teams in the New York area, both trying to dig themselves out of 2024. Hope springs eternal in 2025. You've got Justin Fields at quarterback for the Jets. You've got Russell Wilson at quarterback for the Giants, or do you? Is Jackson Dart making this one interesting? Barb, hey, how are you doing? Great to see you here. Joey B reminds everyone, smash the like and subscribe button, people, on the way in. Thanks for that reminder, Joey. Thanks for getting us started, Barb. A good point by Joey there. For this chat, I've started to limit the people who can ask questions or make comments to only subscribers. We got spammed by a bunch of bots in our last chat. The chat was cooking post game after Giants Bills, and we had a bunch of bots jumping in. I was doing my best to moderate it. But so my change for this chat, we're going to see how it works, is to limit those who can make comments, ask questions to our subscribers. So if you're not subscribed already, hey, Ken, how's it going? Great to see you. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, and it should give you maybe a 5-minute window to jump in and join the chat, join the community. We're grateful to our sponsors here, MyBookie, Hooks, Rubs, and Spices, Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, and Sal Loretta for Men in Midland Park, New Jersey. Couple exciting things coming on this podcast. At around 9:15, Antwan Staley of the Daily News is going to join me, my colleague, and we're going to break it down from both the Jets and Giants side. So he'll be here for you guys to ask questions about the Jets side, about maybe what the Giants are going to be facing on the field against Aaron Glenn's team these next couple of days, as well as on Saturday in the preseason game number 2. And Antoine's always a lot of fun. He'll have a great breakdown, and we'll go back and forth. I think you'll really enjoy that. The second thing is brought to you by Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. We will have a Giants trivia question coming later in the chat, and that will, again, be eligible. If you win that trivia question, you will win some Hooks, Rubs, and Spices mailed directly to you. Nick, our viewer Nick, won the inaugural Hooks, Rubs, and Spices Giants trivia giveaway post-game. And Jared, our diehard Giants fan and owner and founder of Hooks, Rubs, and Spices, is already on his way to sending out that product to Nick. So we're grateful to everyone who's participating, who's joined us here. And Joey B kicks us off, says, I love what I saw Saturday, but I'm staying pessimistic, Pat. I don't want to get my hopes up and be disappointed. I say 3 wins, but if we get more, I'll be happy. I also have to say the vibe felt different around the team. The body language and all felt different in a good way. That's a great thing to hear, especially from Joey B, who was there in Orchard Park, made the trip for the road game. And, you know, to be honest, that's a great game to go to. You want to be at a game where something new and fresh and exciting happens, right? So kudos to you, Joey B, for hitting the road and being there to see something that maybe is going to help turn this franchise around. Who knows? But before Antoine joins us and we talk a little Giants and Jets, and you guys can ask him questions as well, but I wanted to dig into what I started off talking about, which was the quarterback situation. I mentioned Russell Wilson for the Giants, and I mentioned Justin Fields for the Jets. So here's the question. Did Jackson Dart start making this a competition with that performance? Or as a Giants fan, are you satisfied at the moment with just being encouraged, but letting him sit and develop and hopefully not play? Because here's the situation. The Giants going to Florham Park and then hosting the Jets in East Rutherford, as well as the preseason game number 2 at MetLife Stadium with the Giants as the home team. If you're Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen and you're trying to get Jackson Dart ready to possibly play relatively early in this season, then you have to at some point get him some reps with the first team offense. Now he's had, you know, a smidgen of them right here and there along the way, but nothing really to speak of with Malik Neighbors, with Darius Slayton, with all of these guys. If Jackson Dart is going to play relatively early for the Giants, meaning week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, in the first half of this season, you want to start getting him reps with those guys now. And what better time than when Malik Neighbors gets to go best on best, hopefully, with Sauce Gardner, with Andrew Thomas is not going to practice against the Jets in full physical 100% participation. But if he steps onto the field and he starts ramping up towards that Patriots game, then wouldn't you like to see that offensive line start to gel? Dart be in the huddle with those guys as well. Now, I'm not sitting down Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston based on one preseason half for Jackson Dart. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that if the season doesn't start well with Russell Wilson and you have Jackson Dart coming out of a strong preseason as your first round pick, it probably isn't going to take much if the season starts skidding early for them to break glass on that emergency and try the rookie and try the kid. And, don't tell me the fan base won't be calling for it at that point as well. So this is more of a curiosity on my standpoint at this point to keep an eye on how they handle Dart and those reps, because so far he's been taking purely second team reps. Generally, typically, almost always is the second quarterback up after Russell Wilson. So I'm monitoring whether that is going to change. Joey B says the seats at the Ralph made my cheeks numb. Well, they're getting a new stadium, so you won't have to sit in them much longer. Intel says the Giants will make the playoffs and the defense can carry them for 10 wins. All right, we got an optimist in the chat, and Dart needs to sit until 2027. I don't need to see Dart at all, says Intel. Well, that's not going to happen until 2027, Intel, but I hear your sentiment, and that is something that's shared by a lot of Giants fans, because what you're pointing out is, hey, develop the kid, but also if you don't have to pull that ripcord on Jackson Dart, that probably means, that should mean, that likely means, it does mean that your team with Russell Wilson at quarterback is cooking, right? And so that would be the best case scenario is what I hear you saying. Joey B agrees he'll be okay if Russ is dangerous. Ken agrees it depends on how Russell Wilson plays. If he's not doing well, the Dart talk will ramp up quickly. Joey B agrees, doesn't want to see Dart at all if Russ is cooking. He was surprised to see Dart before Jameis on Saturday, especially after the depth chart reveal. Very interesting, right? That they have the depth chart with Jameis ahead of him, even though Dart has been practicing ahead of him, and Dart went in ahead of him in the game. I agree. Joey B says there's a pic going around Dart posted with the old red jersey. So are we bringing them back? Also, any news if the old logo is coming back on the helmets? Don't have anything to give you there, Joey B. Giants are keeping those things close to the vest these days. Sorry, but I am always for the red jerseys. I told John Mara that to his face a few years ago. Bring back the red. I don't care if you feel like it's bad luck or you had some bad moments or memories with it. Whatever it is, break them out. They're awesome. So I'm with you. Intel says Russ is going to cook. GCN says, Pat, I got locked out and had to resub. Hope it keeps away the Giants bots. Oh, interesting, GCN. Well, welcome in. Welcome back. Don't know why you got locked out. That's a little bit strange. But yes, hopefully this keeps the bots away. That's part of that's the main reason why I tried it tonight. We have subscribers only asking questions. So, but I set it to, just so anyone who's new in here, if you just joined and you're not a subscriber, if you subscribe to the channel, you should be able to jump in within 5 to 10 minutes and ask questions. You'll be able to watch anyway. Barb wants to know if there's any news on the injury to Drew Phillips. Barb, they've been handling all of these things with, in a precautionary way. As far as I could see, Phillips was there on the sideline. It wasn't like he disappeared and was never to be found. So I'm hopeful that that's not a big issue. But we're going to follow up on that in practice participation with the Jets. We'll know a lot more about him as far as how much we see him on the field this week. But I have not heard anything yet that was worse than just, hey, we're being careful because he's important to us in week 1. Jay Farries, my guy, what's going on? Jay Farries checks in with the first super chat of Talking Ball live with Pat Leonard here on Monday night, August 11th. Only a few minutes away from Antwan Staley, my colleague at the Daily News, who covers the Jets every day as well as the NFL, joining us to preview a little Jets-Giants joint practice. Jay Farry says people act like Jackson Dart is some skinny generational gem. He is a late first round pick. He doesn't need bubble wrap. Russ would be out of the league if we didn't sign him. No team was interested in him. Yeah. And so, I see both sides of this, though I'm more on Jay Farry's side in this sense. I agree that Russell Wilson needs to show us before we can believe he's going to cook. There's a reason so many teams have had him and gotten rid of him. The other thing is now, true, he's a late first round pick, but when teams draft players this high, and especially when they're this excited about them, and you saw how excited Brian Daboll was feeling himself after that game against Buffalo, the enthusiasm, the belief in the player, if the locker room rallies around the player as well, that is something that you can't take lightly, because in the NFL, first round picks typically play, and they play early. We'll get to a couple more questions here. And then Antwan Staley, my colleague at the Daily News, is going to join us. Jay Farry says Hook's BBQ rub is good. Jay, hopefully you ordered it. That's one of our sponsors here, of course. Like I said, later in the chat, we're going to do our Giants trivia brought to you by Hook's Rubs and Spices, and we're going to do a giveaway of one of Hook's Rubs sent directly to your house, so stay tuned. Intel says Russell just has to manage the game and not turn the ball over, run the football, play great defense. Navis says, what's up, Pat? Looking forward to Wednesday. Are you going to both joint practices? Yes, I will be there both days, Florham Park and East Rutherford. Looking forward to it. Antoine and I are about to break that down shortly. Intel says Dart needs to be holding the clipboard and doing virtual reality software that the Commanders use. I like it. All right, last couple, and then we'll bring Antoine in. GCN says, Pat, Dart is the one quarterback. Wilson is done. Watch Kurt Warner on Wilson. He did not understand his reads. Jordan on ESPN said the offense was going to be dump off screen passes and a deep pass. Well, that's what Russ has been. Exactly right about Wilson. There's a reason the Steelers let him walk, says Ken. Yes. Well, Jordan says the offense is going to be conservative this year. Well, I'll tell you this. I've been saying this since the spring, especially with Kafka jumping in. This offense might look scary in a scary way, might look a lot like the Daniel Jones offense of 2022. Of course, run-based, and it got them to the playoffs, but we'll see. But without further ado, we're going to bring in Antwan Staley. Just one thing before Antwan jumps in. He's the man. He knows everything about the Jets, NFL. We're going to break it down. If you have a comment or question and you want it answered first and the queue starts filling up, remember, you can purchase a super chat or super sticker and you will elevate to the top of the queue. That'll make sure that Antwan answers you, that I answer you. Antwan's going to hang around for, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever he's got. And so if you need a question, if you want a question answered, remember, we're going to the super chats first. Without further ado, there he is, the man. It is Antwan Staley rocking a Calgary Flames hat, bringing the heat. What's up? Love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we both used to cover hockey, so you understand what it is. So
Man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. So this is going to be our guest line brought to you by MyBookie Sportsbook. Everybody, you got to check it out. It's the best place to bet all sports, casino. Really great for WWE and for UFC as well. So go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code Leonard. That's my last name. You'll get some welcome bonuses and you'll be able to tail my Pat picks all season long. All right, Antoine, you're here. You've been at Jets every day. You're covering the league. But the
yeah,
Giants and the Jets are about to clash here in Florham Park. It's a road game for me, but can you give me first a breakdown of a few of the players that, based on what you've seen in camp, are going to be most difficult for the Giants to handle? So that could be anywhere on the field. It could be a backup. It could be a star that we already know about. But a few guys that you've seen so far in July and early August who are definitely going to open the Giants' eyes and maybe test them as well as they want to be.
yeah. If you look at my article, like which is up at nydailynews.com, like as well, like I preview like the Sauce and the Malik Neighbors matchup because that's gonna be like that's the pop that's the match you want to see. Like above
No doubt.
everything else. Like that was number one. Like you get your popcorn ready because you got a elite wide receiver against a guy that Sauce had a bit of a down year, but he still was I feel like a top 10 corner last year. Like I mean, I understand like he had some tackling issues, but he's been playing all world like in training camp right now, like back to that elite level that he was like a couple of years ago. So yeah, I'm curious to
Mm.
see like this is gonna be his first really big test like this year. I mean, he's faced Garrett. I mean, he of course he knows his tendencies, but to face somebody that he doesn't necessarily know his tendencies and doesn't go up against on a regular basis is definitely going to be a big test for Saul. So that's the first matchup I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm sure you are too, like that matchup as well.
No doubt. And I'm one of the key points for me first is Malik going to be on the field? I think he's going to be. They've been monitoring this toe that he said has been a discussion about surgery at times. Supposedly it's not going to be anything until the offseason, but my number one thing, first of all, is number one on the Giants better be on the field because I need to see this matchup. And then number two is, I mean, Antoine, this kid is against the Giants corners has been unguardable. So, and he's a huge competitor, just like Sauce has been. So, I'm really eager to see that. And I was telling everybody in the chat prior to you jumping in, I'm also curious to see if Jackson Dart is going to get any reps with Malik and the first
Yeah,
team against some of what the Jets have, because right so far he's only really done mostly second team stuff. And I get Russell Wilson is projected as the starter, but I want to see how the rookie breaks
right.
down, throwing to Malik and throwing to him against a high level guy as well. All right. So Sauce, yeah, it even
Especially
seemed,
against a high level defense too, because you say whatever you want to about the Jets, but they have an outstanding. Their defense has finished in the top five the last 3 years, so statistically, so
and
they
Sauce,
definitely are a high level defense.
that's a good point. And you mentioned, so Sauce played a bunch in the preseason opener, correct?
Yeah, yeah, he played a little bit. Yeah, he played a couple of series. So yeah,
So did that surprise you that he played that much? Like, is that part of his like I'm on something new type thing, or is that just an Aaron Glenn
it's
like
Glenn. That's
emphasis?
Glenn. Like Glenn wants to set the tempo. Like it's different from the Robert Saleh regime. Like Saleh did not play veterans or starters in the preseason at all. Hell, like we can even talk about just practices, like are just different. Compared to Aaron Glenn to Saleh, to the point where Solid didn't have referees at all at camp last year. Like Aaron Glenn has them every single day because like the Jets have led the league in penalties the last couple of years. They've been the worst teams in that area, so he wants to get that cleaned up. That was the big issue in the preseason game against the Packers. He committed 12 penalties for I think 91 yards, but yeah, I mean that's why he wants to just have has the Jets be a physical team, and the way do that is invite referees out there and also live tackle too. So I'm curious to see, especially from your point of view too, like what you thinking, like what the tempo might be tomorrow, because the Jets have been live tackling like in practices, but the Giants typically don't do that.
That the Jets have been live tackling, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Ooh.
they doing like Oklahoma drills, like they're doing one on one. Like this is like old high school college stuff. Like this is going
Oh,
back to stuff when I covered like when I was covering college football. Like
oh
that's
no,
kind of reminds me of.
the Giants have not been doing that. No, in fact, um, it's thud if anything in pads, and then I'll just say this, like we're not allowed to say what the coaches say when they're on the field, but I've seen coaches like yell at defensive players for like bumping an offensive player too hard that wasn't the quarterback. So pretty big difference between what you're seeing and what I'm seeing. You're leading me, and we'll get to the queue right after this question. You're leading me to what I was thinking as you brought that up is, so the Giants in the spring had this huge like melee fight. It was in the trenches. It was Brian Burns. It was James Hudson. It was Kayvon Thibodeau. It was Jermaine Illuminor. There
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
huge emphasis after that internally, like, lock it down. We can't do this. It was embarrassing, all that. So we haven't seen anything yet in camp. So from my vantage point, the Giants are being told in no uncertain terms, no fights or else. But we saw them, brawl the Lions last year. So we know what happens when it
Yeah.
gets on the field. My question to you is, do you think Aaron Glenn's emphasis on discipline keeps the Jets in line as well? Or because they're playing so physically and with that physical mentality, is it inevitable that sparks are going to fly here?
Yeah, I think so. We kind of talked about this offline a little bit, but yeah, I think the Jets have not fought at all, like each other in camp. Like it's been instances where you kind of see players want to, but you got Aaron Glenn, like he has an iron fist, and they're like, yeah, we're not trying to figure out what the discipline might be, like regards to that. I don't know what it might be. He has not talked about that, but you can just kind of tell, like players, like, I'm not doing that. But when it's against another opponent that you don't typically see on a regular basis,
Mm,
yeah, I think it's going to be ultimately like some fights there. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a ton, but I mean, these are grown men that playing a very physical sport. Like ultimately, especially how physical the Jets have been, I imagine it's going to be some kind of like skirmish there. I'm not saying it's going to be something major, but it might be a little bit pushing and shoving. But I'm curious to see like how that translates, especially considering how Glenn has been, very holding players accountable for their actions. Like even in the preseason game, like he was yelling at players like for making penalties. Like it was like three unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and it was very Bill Parcells light. Basically like
interesting.
yanking them off the field and very college like it is chewing them out and giving them accountability. So I imagine the same thing will happen like in a fight, throughout practice too as well.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. Dable misses no opportunity to mention how close he and Glenn are, or how much they go way back
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So maybe that'll be tested. We'll see. Jumping into the queue real quick. Joe says Dart needs to start like the Broncos started Bo Nix last year. Interesting. We'll get Antoine's thoughts on that in a little bit. Joe also says Wilson went 0-6 down the stretch with the Steelers. They wanted to replace him, but Fields was hurt. After the season, they dumped him. No NFL team would sign him. Giants wanted Stafford. Tuto checks in with the super chat. Tuto, one of our OGs here, Antoine, just brings it all the time. Says much love and respect to Big Boss Pat, Giants media legend. Greetings from our entire rugby club in Italy. Our season opponent opener is next Friday. Please pray for my victims, mate. Love it, Tuto. Antoine, we always joke that the Giants O-line needs some Tuto in their lives. All right, this is an interesting comment from Novice. He says, I want to see Abdul versus Olu, a little Penn State on Penn State crime. All right, so Antoine, let's get into this. Abdul Carter has been like, if I could tell anyone who calls me, I talk to people in the league, when they say, what's going on with the Giants? The first thing I say to everybody is, this Carter kid's for real. And like, I know that you're watching him against his own team, but then against the Bills, I mean, he had like 6 snaps or something. And every time
Yeah.
he
He had
rushed
like
the
he had
passer,
like
he's
two
in the
or three
backfield.
pressure, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Like, his motor is just something else. So my question to you is, how does Olu look? How does the Jets offensive line look? Can they handle an Abdul Carter and what the Giants have to throw at them in these practices and in the game?
we're gonna see. Like that was one of my keys too as well. Like you're checking off all the checklists right now. Like you're doing a great job. Like, but yeah, that was one of my
Great
key
minds,
matchups
man.
too,
Great
because
minds.
I mean those two they played together at Penn State for a couple of years there. Like, what is weird is like Abdul and I was talking to the Jets beat writers about this, like he was an off ball linebacker at Penn State when Olu was there. Like, because they had Chop Robertson. Now when Chop left, then Abdul filled in his spot at the edge, and then which came just absolute freak. Like he was as good as an off ball linebacker. Like we were talking about him being a French first round pick, just being an off ball linebacker, and now you talk about him being the edge. Like he is a menace. Like he just like, I can only imagine like he was tremendous at Penn State. Like, and then like I can only imagine like he's just giving those quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and the Giants offense, just headaches on a regular basis. Like that's how he is. And like that's why I thought he was worthy of the top 3 pick. Because I mean, I thought at one point in time I was like the Jets need to take Abdul Carter, because he is like, he is just the man. Like we talk about in the playoffs, like how he was just like performing at a high level, and then at a certain point you're like, he's going to be taken before the Jets even get there. So, it's funny that like the Giants did a good job taking them. I know they have Brian Burns and they have Thibodeau there, but you can never have too many good pass rushers, especially how elite he is. And if he falls anywhere near Michael Parsons in that level, then I can only imagine like he's going to give Justin Fields a headache. And I think that's going to be something to keep too as well, because Justin Fields has had a bit of an uneven camp. He did play well in the preseason game, but I'm curious to see like against those pass rushers in Burns and also Abdul Carter and Thibodeau, like how he's going to perform.
How does the line look? Like I've seen your reporting on, like you just said, Justin Fields up and down, or
Yeah,
a lot of down, like
yeah.
left leaves a lot to be desired. But how's the group playing in front of him? Like if if the Giants throw, let's say, a slightly above average pass rush at them, can they handle it because they've been handling the Jets pass rush? Or do you see some weaknesses there? How would Olu hold up? Like all that?
Hulu's been good. Like I think he's been really good. And I'm worried about some of the other pass rushers, like some of the other, offensive linemen too as well. Because it's been the pass protection has been a problem. Like running, run blocking has been great. Like they've been physical at the point of attack. Like they've been able to get a lot, yards. Like just as far as the line of scrimmage. Like Braylon Allen is doing really well. I think Brees Hall has had a really good camp. Like I think all the running backs have had a good camp as far as running the ball. Pass protection
Mm.
has been an issue there. Whether Quentin has been in there, Will McDonald is like, he might be Will McDonald. Like that's going to be a key matchup too. I'm curious to see how he performs against the Giants because he is so much bigger and faster than what he was a year ago. But he's been given, Amar Membu, the first round pick for the Jets, trouble at times, like to the point where during the green and white scrimmage, he knocked him on his butt, like point blank. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it was like, yeah, it was just like something you just see, like, a little kid just, going up to the line and he just pushed him, like, just rammed him. Like, it was that, like, insane. So, like pass protection has been an issue though. So I'm curious to see how they handle against that Giants stout pass rush, especially when you got Dexter there too. Like Dexter's, you talk about where he is like where he is as far as the top defensive tackles in the league, but he's definitely up there. And like I'm curious to see how that inside can handle him, especially with Vera Tucker and also Joe Tippin and that crew.
Well, I'm equally as interested in seeing Dex, Antoine, as you, because this is something that's been pretty quiet. I'm probably going to write about it this week, but I'm waiting to see what his workload looks like against the Jets. Dexter does not so far look like he's in football shape fully.
Ooh, okay.
So he had an elbow at the end of last year, and in the spring he was here, but he really didn't do anything in team. He just did like light stuff. And then early in camp, it's been in and out. It's been limited snaps. It's been like there was one day that he didn't do 11 on 11, and he was literally doing like conditioning sprints with his helmet and pads on. I thought that was interesting. And so, we're talking here on August 11th. I mean, the season doesn't start for a little less than under a month. So there's
Yeah.
time. But you and I both know like that, if you're not in football shape on August 15th, like getting there on September 7th is not easy. Like
Hard. Yeah. It's optics.
especially at that size, right?
It's also the optics too. Like you're a veteran, like so. At a certain point, like you're supposed to be a professional, like come into camp and shape and everything like that. I understand he dealt with the injury, but it's just the way. Like he's arguably their best player.
Yes.
So for him
Yes.
to come in not the camp not in shape, like that is not a good sign at all. Because
Well, that's
like
yeah,
he's so dominant.
it's murky because like he's on the field and he's playing, and when he plays, like he makes a difference, but he's just been so limited. And then like the other day, there was a screen to a running back, and he was, chasing it downfield to finish a play that's been a huge emphasis of the team and Dable, and it just didn't look like him. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't look the same. So that I'm interested to see how much he does against the Jets. And that's something that, not to worry the chat for the Giants fans in here, but like Andrew Thomas, what's going on there? Not on the field yet. Malik
Yeah.
Neighbors managing the toe. Dexter Lawrence still getting into football shape. Very interesting to see how they play all of that. We got some super chats in the queue. Tuto doubles back, says, Pat, I play power back in the rugby union, which is equivalent to 2 NFL offensive linemen. Destroyer, pancake, feast all day. I'll cook them all. I love it, Tuto. You're the best. All right, we got Connor checks in. Connor Long says, Pat, Antoine, jet up, baby. All right, Connor,
Yeah, I
love it.
love Connor. I love Connor.
So, Connor, can you tell us in the chat, since you're jumping in from the Jet side, can you tell us what you're eager to see from this team and any Jets questions you might have? Joey B checks in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Joey B. He
Ooh.
says, who do we think has a better season, the Jets or the Giants? Antoine, I'll let you go first, unless you still got to think about it. I'll jump in.
No, I have the Giants have such a tough schedule. Like I think they are
Yeah.
improved, but that schedule is but like the first four games, like oh my god, like dude, like like it is
Mm.
like the schedule makers did them no favor. I don't know who they pissed off in the NFL offenses, but they need to go ahead like they need to make like some amends like seriously because like that is so like they can start 0-4 like legitimately. Like I
It's
have a
tough.
hard time. Like I I,
Well,
I don't think
Antoine,
either
part of
team
the
is going to be
problem,
really good.
Antoine, part of the problem is, sorry to cut you off, but part of the problem is Washington's usually like the division rival or the division team
Correct.
that they just kind of like the Giants get 1 to 2 on them every year, and
Yeah,
suddenly they
it's
got
not the
Jaden
case
Daniels
anymore.
and they're not a walkover anymore, right? But
Exactly.
yeah, sorry,
And
go ahead.
I think Dallas is going to be improved. I think Dallas is going to be as much as headache as Jerry Jones and that crew is. Like I think they are going to be improved. I think they're a fringe playoff team. I think they can win 10 games and get like sneak into the playoffs. You know, the Eagles are going to be the Eagles. They're going to be there too. So it's a tough division with a tough schedule. I think the Giants probably finished with 5 wins. I think the Jets, you know, getting finished anywhere from 6 to 7. So we're talking like we're splitting hairs. Like I don't think
Yeah,
either team is going to be really good there. I think the key for the Jets also have a tough schedule. If you look at it too, they start out with Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and they go to Tampa and they go to Miami, like their first 4 games. So they can start out 0-4 potentially too if things go sideways as well. But I think but
What's the Jets' first four?
yeah, Steelers, Buffalo, Tampa, Miami, and then also they got Dallas after that. They host Dallas in Jersey, and then they go to London and they play the Broncos. So we're talking about 4 teams that make 4 of the first 6 games are against playoff teams. So that is like brutal. Like that is so tough. But I think the
Wow.
back half after the bye week, you got Cleveland there, you got New Orleans there to it. So it's some opportunities for some wins there. I think they can pick up some wins later on in the season. I think they can do a lot what Detroit did probably second year when the Dan Campbell, where they ended up getting up to a slow start early on, but ended up like winning a lot of games later on. So I could definitely see that, like them winning like 4 or 5 games late in the season and getting some momentum heading to 26.
Yeah, I think my answer would be the Jets, but that they would win more games. The one thing I wonder about though is like I don't have a ton of confidence in either quarterback situation, Antoine. And Tyrod as a backup, I love Tyrod if he can stay
He's
healthy.
already hurt now.
Oh, that's right. So
Yeah,
when's he coming
yeah,
back?
he has a knee injury. They're not sure like the extent of it, but Aaron, they don't think it's that serious. But again, like it's Tyrod Taylor. So as you know, you covered Tyrod Taylor, so the
Yep.
man has been completely snake bitten by injuries throughout the course of his career. So it's
So right.
unfortunate that that's the case, but
So a healthy
they definitely got to have him.
so a healthy Tyrod means like I have more confidence in the Jets. A not healthy Tyrod and it's Justin Fields or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get on board with that. I mean, at least
Mm.
the Giants have the ability to pivot to Jackson Dart and try to sell hope that way. Or, I mean, I would say pivot to Jameis Winston, but they really don't show much confidence in him at all. And so I don't even know if he's going to be on the team. If he's on the team, that's a better quarterback situation than what the Jets have with a banged up Tyrod. Hard, hard. I mean, I agree with you. It's splitting hairs. I think this is what it's all about, Antoine. If the Giants can get one win in those first two, Washington and Dallas,
Correct.
then I think they prove themselves to be a team that at least every week you gotta fend with, you gotta think about, you gotta contend with. It could be all right in the NFL in a league of toss-ups. Maybe they can get, like you said, to 5 wins,
Yeah.
6 at the max. I'm concerned though by their team's health, especially with all of their top players. So I'm gonna go Jets by a hair on wins. But
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. But I also feel like the Giants have improved too. And then you can cut me off if you don't believe, but I think they have improved like roster wise. I just don't think it's the schedule is just so brutal. Like it's hard to overcome that, especially considering the division that they play in. And now, like you alluded to, the Commanders are actually really good, and they have a young quarterback that's going to be there for the next decade plus.
yeah, right, right. All right. Novice of things checks in with another comment, says coaching matters. Dallas coaching is a problem. Yeah, that's possible, Novice. Also, the one advantage in addition to the Parsons circus going on, this is comes with like the Giants facing them early, Antoine, obviously, is that in this preseason opener, they got run all over by the Rams
Yeah.
on the ground. And I've taught, Calvin Watkins came on the podcast from Dallas Morning News,
Mm.
and he said that their running game and their run defense so far hasn't been great. Sounds like Dak looks amazing. Pickens looks amazing. CD looks amazing. So there's a lot to like too. Elam, the corner from Buffalo, looks good.
Yeah.
But that the lack of running, stopping the run, plus being able to run the ball, plus being Brian Schottenheimer as head coach, which is a total unknown. They could be vulnerable. I don't know. What do you think, Antoine? You mentioned you think Dallas. You actually like Dallas. You're high on Dallas. Why are you high
I
on
think
them?
they can win 9 or 10 games. Like I think to think about Schottenheimer, he understands Jerry Jones. Like as you know, he's been around him. Like it takes a certain individual to be able to want to play for Jerry Jones because like it's a lot that comes with that. And I
Yeah.
think Schottenheimer just being in that organization previously, he knows how to navigate that. So that's not going to be an issue. Like whereas some guys like Mike McCarthy or other guys, like it can be an issue because if you're going into it for the first time. So I just think from a talent perspective, I think they can. If having said that, what you said, it seems like they're gonna have to outscore people, which I can definitely see that too. Because I think offensively, like they're gonna be able to put up points. Like they're gonna be able to put up 30 points to just about anybody. It's just about running the football. Can they actually stop people? And if they can't stop people other than Michael Parsons, then it's definitely gonna be an issue. But I think off from offensive standpoint, like I think Dak is gonna have a bounce back year. I like what they've done in the offensive line, like getting Pickens, like to compliment CD. I definitely think that's a really good get as well. It's a low risk situation because if you don't keep him this year, like he becomes a bonehead, then you could just let him go for nothing. But if he's something like a stud, like you thought, like how he was coming out of Georgia, then you keep him and probably sign him for money that you can tolerate within your salary cap.
Great point by you about outscoring people, because now this comes back to, I'm always hammering this with the Giants. Like, let's say their defense is a lot better, and hopefully it is, and that could be a recipe for them to win. But it always comes down in the modern NFL, Antoine. The Jets know this very well, having a good defense, to
Yeah,
scoring points. And that's why with the Giants, as much as the defense is showing some life, and especially with Carter in the mix, you add Javon Holland, you add Paulson Adebo, that week 10 game against Dallas, no matter who's playing and who's not, this is why the quarterback conversation, the conversation about who's playing, who's calling the plays, about, it doesn't matter what the Giants defense does. The Giants offense with Russell Wilson early on, week 1 and 2 against Washington and Dallas, they need to be able to score 24 points a game
at
minimum, right?
least, at least,
Right?
at
Like
least,
to
yeah,
win these games, right? Because Dak, to your point, are the Giants going to play Dak Prescott for 4 quarters and hold the Cowboys under 23? I mean,
not likely.
not likely.
Yeah,
But this
not
is but this is the
likely.
modern NFL, right?
Yeah,
Like you win games in the modern NFL 34-31, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think you have to like every game you go into. Like, I think it's a certain point about like you have to say, okay, we need depending on how good your defense is. For the Jets, it might be like if we can hold a team to 17 points, then we're good. Like we can score if we can get 20 24 points on the if we can get 24 points, like we can win like 10 of our games like this way. Like we're not gonna win them all because we're not gonna be able to score points, but we can get like 24 points at least. Like I
no
think
doubt.
Dallas has to like I think other teams like the Giants have to have a similar type of mode. Like if we can get to that 24 threshold, then we can win. Like we can be in a lot of these games because otherwise, like yeah, you're talking about 14, 17 points, like, and then you're basically bringing a water pistol to a gunfight. Like that's basically how it is. Like, especially when you got James Daniels, you got you got Hurst, and you got Dak Prescott in the same division. Like, yeah, you got to be able to put up some points. Otherwise, like, it's gonna be really rough for you.
Novice, appreciate this additional super chat. I have to admit, Allen in that line is a barometer for Giants run defense. I was trying to figure that out. I was looking at it on the back end. Allen, are you talking about Josh Allen?
Braylon Allen.
Oh, you're talking
Like,
Jets. Okay,
yeah,
got you, got you.
yes, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen's been had a really tremendous camp. So, like, it's been a talking point among some Jets fans believing that he's the better running back right now. I'm not ready to go that far, but he has had a tremendous count right now. So I think they're going to use a lot of Braylon out. It's kind of like how the Lions use David Montgomery and like Gibbs there. That's kind of how you're going to see like the Jets approach there this year.
Interesting. Antoine, is there a chance the Jets are I mean, I right before I brought you on, I was talking about feeling like this Mike Kafka Giants offense could look a lot maybe like the Daniel Jones 2022, where it was Saquon Barkley running the ball, Daniel
Yeah,
Jones running the ball, and a lot of, play action, a lot of horizontal action, stretching the defense both ways, a lot of misdirection, but all based on the running game first, not the passing game.
correct.
Is that what the Jets are going to look like? Like, are they with Justin Fields with a two-back system? There's all this talk about the numbers, the passing numbers. It's concerning, but like, are they just going to pound the rock and defeat teams that way with just a lot of creativity in the running game with Fields?
Yeah, that's what they want to be physical. Like they want to be physical at the point of attack. They understand like Justin Fields is not the most accurate passer in the world, but at the same time, like he has a ability. His superpower is his legs. Like he knows how to use his legs to get out of traffic. There, he did it during the touchdown run. Like he ended up having against the Packers in the preseason there too as well. So yeah, he's not going to run for 1,000 yards like how he did with Chicago. Like I don't think they want him to, but
Yeah.
if he can run for like 700, 800 yards and also get you 20 touchdowns, passes, and maybe like, six, it has like six interceptions or whatever, they'll take that. Because
Oh
they just
man.
want they just want him to be efficient. Like they don't necessarily like again, like he's not gonna be, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. But they just want him to be efficient and just run the offense there, take what the defense is giving them, and then use the running game to kind of set up the pass. And that's what they've been trying to do in the preseason. And he did a good job of that against the Packers. And again, like I'm curious to see how it's going to hold up the next couple of days. But yeah, that's their plan. Like they just want to be physical with teams at the point of attack, and then just kind of play it from there.
Got to coach the full team. All right. First of all, Biondo Contracting, licensed New Jersey roofing company, just dropped 50 bones on us in the super chat here. Thank you, Biondo. Really appreciate you. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's either Biondo or Biondo. Either way, thank you so much. That's somebody who's appreciating what we're bringing here, supporting the channel. We really appreciate that. As we said, drop a super chat or a super sticker. If you pay for that, we'll address you immediately. You'll be next up in the chat. But thank you so much for that support. Really appreciate you. The reason why Antoine and I are here is to provide information, analysis to all of you. This is Talking Ball live with Pat Leonard. I'm the New York Daily News NFL columnist, Giants beat writer. Antwan Staley, Daily News NFL columnist, Jets beat writer. We are here previewing joint practices as well as preseason game number 2. If you're not a subscriber already, subscribe to my channel here. This is PL on NFL. It's Talking Ball live with Pat Leonard. Subscribe. You'll be able to ask your question, participate. You'll get notifications when we go live and all that. But hey, Biondo, first of all, everybody go support them, but thanks for supporting us. All right, so Connor Long, I promised Connor a question because he dropped a super chat in as well. Thank you, Connor. He says, Antoine, the first practice that you and I both covered, Austin McNamara was unwatchable. We saw him thrive versus Green Bay. What is the expectation for him this year? And is he 100% the week 1 guy? Antoine, the floor is
I, I
yours.
I'm not sure. Like I actually wrote in one of my articles last week that I'm not sure their punter is on the team at the moment. So but he played well. Like I thought he was really good. So as long as he keeps playing, like he can, some guys are just not practice guys. Like we've been around guys that don't necessarily practice very well, and then they get in the game and then they perform really well. So as long as he keeps this up and keeps putting really well in the preseason, then and then the regular season, then I think he'll be the guy. But I think the expectation just to, nobody's going to be Thomas Morstead, but at the same time, just to,
Yeah.
be able to punt people like, within, inside the 20-yard line and just make sure you give the defense, like the offense, that opposite offense to the long field, like to start out with. So that's the expectation. But yeah, I don't think he necessarily been practicing very well either. But the preseason game against the Packers, like it was really encouraging.
All right. All right. Great question. Great answer. All right. GCN says, Pat, are the Giants and Jets going to tackle in the practice or is it just hit and stop? So I've seen both. Like the Giants did this with the Lions the past 2 years, Antoine. And in Detroit, I feel like I remember them just doing thud mostly. And then when they brought it last year to East Rutherford, there was more hitting, there was more tackling, and there were fights all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard anything from the Jets, and my guess is that they're going to try to be physical, but not consistently
yeah.
tackle to the ground based on what Dable has said. But that's just my feeling. What do you think?
That's what I'm thinking too. Like it's just it'd be a physical aspect, but it just might be rap. They might rap like the players instead of just trying to bring them down too, because they have to agree on like you don't want a. I don't know if you like paid attention to the Bears Dolphins situation over the weekend, but apparently Ben Johnson has been wanting to be physical, much like Aaron Glenn has been. Obviously them both are coming from Detroit, and the Dolphins apparently they didn't get the memo and then they were they were doing a lot of tackling and to the point where some of the beat writers were saying where the Bears were being dirty and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's football, man. Like like what do you expect? Like, but I guess they didn't understand that it was going to be live tackling during the practices. But
Got to get on the
you
same
know,
page, right?
that's what I'm saying. Like, so I imagine like they want to make sure they're on the same page before going into this. Unlike the Bears Dolphins situation, because it seemed like neither one of those teams were on the same page there.
Well, to your point, there's got to be the wrapping and it. I mean, if I were the coach, I would be at least tackling one of the days. Maybe you do it the first day, so then the second day it
Yes.
doesn't escalate. Maybe you reverse it. I could tell you this, like I've kind of talked to the side to some of these Giants defensive players, and I mean, Antoine, you know this every year it happens, but like at a certain point, the defensive players are like, "Are we allowed to hit yet?" Like they get to a point where
You
the
just want to hit
running
somebody else other than your team.
well, also like, even when the Giants first put the pads on, it was like the running backs were looking good and the run looks were looking good and the running backs were scampering out. And it was like the D linemen and linebackers were kind of like off to the side, like they're kind of looking at you like, yeah, I would have not that dude in the next week if I was allowed to tackle, but I wasn't. So we had a 30-yard gain, and so that's an interesting part of it. Like you kind of have to let them get into the full feel of it. And this
Yes.
is one element of the Giants' preparation, Antoine. That's they're really, it's a fine line, as you can see, as I've talked about. Like they've really been trying to almost with kid gloves protect a lot of their important players leading into the regular season because they always start poorly. They're trying to start better, but at the same time, you have to play football to prepare for the regular season. There's no other way to do it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's a
I
really
was
good
gonna say this
question
real
here.
quick. I was gonna say real quick, like, looking back on it, like last year the Jets didn't do any kind of live tackling and with under Robert Sala or anything. The veteran players didn't play at all in the preseason. They got completely boat raced week one by the 49ers, like a team that's very physical. So the way that like you need to be able to tackle, like you need to practice that during the preseason. So I actually agree with Aaron Glenn. Like you're going
Mm.
into like you're playing a team like the Steelers week one. When you got a guy like TJ Watt that's gonna come in, like especially that physical, that team and Cam Haywood and those defensive players, they're gonna be physical. So you need like these players need to know like yeah we need to understand like how tackling feels and also you need your defenders to be able to make tackles like on
Mm.
Aaron, especially against Aaron Rodgers, who like he's gonna want to do everything in his power to destroy the Jets week one. So you want to make sure like everything is airtight, like on all sides of the ball.
No, well said. And, when you practice like that, sometimes like you look at the 49ers and the Rams, teams like this, the Chiefs, like you risk having these injuries, guys get banged up. It happens, it's football. But a lot of the teams that practice that way, including the Eagles last year with Vic Fangio putting his thumb on it, they continue playing a lot longer usually than a
Yeah,
lot of the other teams as well. So it's kind of the trade-off. All right. A few questions in the queue here. Antoine, if you can stick around, great.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
all right, cool. Let me knock out a few of these direct Giants ones. What we have. All right. AJ says if the Giants are 0-2, especially losing to Dallas, there's no telling what Dable might do. This situation is so terrifyingly similar to Eli and Daniel Jones, isn't it, though? But this is the thing. Every NFL team goes to the rookie when it's time to press the red button. Like, that's the
Yeah.
deal. Joe says,
Well, that's
Pat,
that's why you took him. That's why you took him like when you did. So yeah, eventually he's gonna play.
Oh, totally. Right, Antoine. And the other thing is like, this is what's funny. And again, it was only one series for Russell Wilson and the starters, and there was no Malik Neighbors, there was no Darius
Correct.
Slayton, right? So there was no Andrew Thomas. But Antoine, it was a slow, methodical drive down the field. Then 2 penalties lead you to a field goal instead of a
Field
touchdown.
goal. Yeah.
That's the Daniel Jones experience. It's the same thing. Like, if that's the Russell Wilson experience, like there's no difference. It's like, hey, he was 6 for 7 or 5 for 6. It's like, yeah, they got 3 points. Like, that's what Daniel Jones always did. He moved you between the 20s and you got a field goal or a turnover. Like, that's the deal. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's what I
if
thought
they
was
were
funny
if
about
they
that.
were completely sold on Russell Wilson, they wouldn't have drafted Datsun Dart. Like that's the bottom line of it.
And they
So
wouldn't
you
have,
get
even though they might have gotten away with one, but they wouldn't have chased Matthew Stafford. They wouldn't have chased Aaron
exactly
Rodgers, all those things.
correct.
All right, Pat, Giants and Jets were both bad in penalties, says Joe. Giants had 10, Jets had 12. This is a big deal for the Giants, like especially pre-snap. I don't know, Antoine, where is it showing up for the Jets? Because I know that for the
All of it.
Giants,
All of it. Like all of it. Like it's a lot of them is stupid penalties though. Like a lot of them is shooting themselves in the foot to the point where Michael Clemens, so I don't know if you saw what Michael Clemens did in Buffalo last year. It was a scrum. He jumped in the pile of the scrum in Buffalo. Like I'm like, what is he doing? Like it makes no sense. But anyway, he ended up getting into a fight with one of the Packers players. Aaron Glenn took him out the game, like chewed him out on the sideline. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you like? You're costing your team yards. Like, it was an offsetting penalties, but it could have just been a penalty on the Packers. Like, don't fight back. That's basically what Aaron Glenn was saying. Like, and they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
it's
They
amazing.
did it in the scrimmage. Like they had their scrimmage a week ago. They had over 12 penalties in the scrimmage against themselves. Like that is like unacceptable.
Unreal, unreal. No,
And a
it's
lot of
funny.
them was pre-snap penalties too, by the way.
It's a great point you make. It's like when I think of the Giants penalties, I think of pre-snap, illegal formation, a false start, stuff like that. When I think of the Jets, I think of like right after the play, someone doing something stupid. That's what I
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Like
think.
you had three unsportsmanlike penalties like against the Packers, like in the preseason game. That's just and the Jets are not good enough to overcome mistakes like that.
Oh my God, I love it. That was good. All right. GCN says, Pat, did the Giants and Jets require their linemen to wear knee braces as a precaution? The Chargers Slater was not wearing one when he tore his patella. You can't require players to wear a brace. I mean, you could strongly encourage it. The
Correct.
strength staff, the training staff, like they have these conversations with guys. Obviously, if a player, look at the Eagles, Landon Dickerson, for example,
Yeah.
like that's a guy who pre-draft has a knee issue. Some teams mark him because of the knee. It's a chronic thing. It's something that you're going to manage. So you have those conversations with players, but ultimately, and I should add, the NFL has parameters on what you can't wear, right? Like
Yeah.
there's only a certain amount you can wear and, to support yourself without giving yourself an advantage or whatever it is. But no, you cannot require it. But you've seen an uptick in it, just like you've seen, I'm sure you have too, Antoine, and like the uptick of like guys wearing those Guardian caps
Guardian caps, yeah.
in practice, right? It's like you can't make a guy do it, but you can say, here are the advantages. So that's a good question, GCN.
No, that is. That is. Like
Hmm,
I think yeah, if you have any kind of knee injuries, then yeah, I think you want to, but yeah, I mean it's up to the player to want to do it. Like it just feels like also how comfortable they feel like practicing in it. Because some players may need to wear it, but they may not feel comfortable practicing or playing in a knee brace too. So it's just about that too as well.
good point. Good point. All right. Kyler says, Pat, did you see Chase Daniels' video of Dart checking out of the run to his touchdown pass? Never seen a rookie do that. Did he have permission or does he just have the smarts to do it? Very impressed. Seemed like he saw it and checked it. Yes, he has the freedom. He has the ability to make those checks at the line. He said after the game that he liked the look that he saw and that he knew they had a potential play to make with little Jordan Humphrey over there. So, yes, the interesting thing about Dart is that he was scouted out of college as a gamer. Like, Antoine,
Yeah.
he really hasn't been amazing in practice. Like he's had some good days, he's had some bad days. But listen, I'll be honest, like I'm the first one to want the kid to play. If he starts showing it, I don't have a lot of faith in Russell Wilson. So if starts showing he's the guy, I'll be the first one saying, put this kid in the damn game. but I wasn't feeling that way going into the Buffalo game. But the asterisk was he's a gamer. That's what everyone around him says. They say when the lights come on, he turns it on. And listen, he almost got picked off before the touchdown, but that's what we saw out of him. And I feel like, I don't know from your standpoint, but like, I feel like there's a lot to be said for a guy, whether it's Shador, whether it's Dart, like guys who look comfortable right away like that. I know it's preseason, but I think that goes a long way to the team believing him as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you go back to like the way you talk about describing his practices, it kind of checks out to how he played at Ole Miss. Like it'd be games where he played really well. Like I remember the Georgia game, and specifically, like I thought he that was probably one of his better games there. And then you look at games like against Florida and some of the other teams, like it wasn't as good too. It was a bit uneven. I think that's why he fell where he did, because ultimately in a draft where it was not a lot of quarterback talent. Like I think, had he been up to par and his play been a lot better, like he would have been a top 10 pick. Like he has all the intangibles, he had the skills, like he can move, outside the pocket there, has a strong arm, but it's just been the consistency. Like it just hadn't been consistent. Like whether you talk about, his time at Ole Miss or now, like even like you detailing it in practices and say like he hasn't been as consistent. But if he can just get that down, then I think the Giants will be in good shape. But it's just that's been the story of his career like the last few years, whether it be in college or now in the NFL.
Well said. Good question, Kyler. Thank you, Antoine. Great insight. G-Man says, Pat, what have your sources said about Antoine or Andrew Thomas's recovery and ramp up? So Andrew Thomas, the Giants franchise left tackle, he's been coming back steadily from this Lisfranc surgery in the fall. Antoine, this has been way too long for comfort for Giants fans. Steadily to the point where this week, Antoine, you're not going to see him go one-on-one against Jets linemen. He hasn't even done that against Giants linemen. But this is the week that you have to see him on the field to feel good about him playing real football before the regular season. Because if he doesn't start ramping up and getting pads on and feeling the rush and getting into some live drills now, then he's probably not seeing any action the final week of the preseason
Yeah.
against the Patriots, because then that's his ramp up. And then you're talking about just trusting muscle memory at that point against Washington. I've been told throughout the process that really this week is the timeline where if he steps onto the field, you're going to feel good about it. And his timeline being on track, or it's been delayed, but on track for week 1. And if he doesn't, then it's going to raise eyebrows. So I can't give you an exact answer on what he's going to do, but that's where it stands.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, you
see.
you definitely want him on the field like sooner rather than later. Like I know the Jets just activated like Jermaine Johnson from the pup list too as well. So this is the time too, because like you're under a month until the season starts. So now you're really starting to have to ramp up, especially for a guy that has been injured, has had those live reps too. Like you got to go against those live bullets. Like if you don't go against that, it's no simulating that, no matter how you do
Yeah, yeah. So Joe asks a Jet question, Antoine. He says, what is Fields throwing like compared to Aaron Rodgers? Can he get better
it. Come
and make all the throws? And I
come
think
on.
I would add an addendum to that, Antoine. I would add to that, how are the receivers adjusting to it? Because like if you're, let's say you're Garrett Wilson, and I know that he and Aaron Rodgers didn't exactly get along, but like if you were used to seeing Aaron Rodgers' pass floating through the air and now Justin Fields, like how are the players adjusting to the difference there? That would be the kind of the second part of that.
I think with Garrett, like he played with Justin for 2 years at Ohio State, so they know each other. Like they have those chemistry. So I think that's first and foremost. Like and you can see that's evident because Garrett is his first read all the time. Like you can just see it, like on the field. Like he's looking like Garrett, like he sees Garrett. Okay, he's open. Like I'm just throw it like instantly,
Hey,
and
that's
then
that's
everybody else
good
is kind of
quarterbacking right there. Come
no,
on.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just telling you what it is. But yeah, him and Garrett are good. But I think a lot of the receivers that the Jets have currently, like, are new. Like Alan Lazard is stick around there still. He's in the sling at the moment. We'll see how like what he looks like coming out of the preseason game. Xavier Gibson, but you have Josh Reynolds who's new. Tyler Johnson is also new. They have a few undrafted free agents too as well that they picked up. So like and they also drafted Arian Smith out of Georgia. So they have a lot of this team is new. So it's not like these guys play with Aaron Rodgers necessarily outside of Alan Lazard, which I'm actually surprised Lazard is still on the team, quite frankly, for a lot of different reasons. But he decided he wanted to take the pay cut and wanted to stick around, continue to play for the Jets for whatever reason, and we'll see how it works out. But I think
Let me tell you the answer to that, Antoine, from my time covering New York sports. Usually the answer to that is he loves New York.
yeah, it probably is.
That's usually
That's probably a good barometer. Yeah, I can
usually
see
the
that.
answer. I don't know that that's the
But I was
answer. It's
surprised.
usually
Like
the answer.
he took a large pay cut to stay. Like,
Yeah.
which I was again like I figured like it's other teams. Pittsburgh probably would have been interested in it too. Like I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would have been like sign Alan Lazard. They probably would have done it. So, but he wanted to stick around and basically simply because he wanted to prove that he is more than just a receiver that can play without with Aaron Rodgers. He wants to prove that he can play with other players as well.
Interesting. All right. Awesome. K Max says he didn't have Ajita watching the Giants offense on Saturday, seemed less congested or something, different vibe. Mike Kafka is all right. I'm not going to say Mike Kafka is a better play caller than Brian Dable because obviously Dable has the Josh Allen track record. I
Yeah.
will say, I will say that he stretches the defense both ways, horizontally and vertically. And last year, Dable got to a point where it was almost like his tinkering wasn't working, so he just tried to stick with like, okay, this is the bread and butter. This is what I know is going to work. But what ended up happening is it became too predictable and vanilla. What I see with Mike Kafka, Antoine, is like, now this might sound obvious, but like he came from Kansas City with Andy Reid and he
Yeah.
was a quarterback himself. He just creates a lot of advantages. And I asked him about this. He said that basically every play call is designed to put a specific weaker defender in conflict. Man,
Okay.
I thought that was a
That's a
great
great
answer.
answer. I never really heard it phrased that way, but yes, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Like he was like diplomatic about it, but he basically said like, yeah, we might run this misdirection if we feel like this linebacker can't handle this action or, whatever it is. And he also does this. He sets up plays for later. And now you and I both know that good coordinators do that, but not all coordinators do that. And Dable, to be honest, does not do that as effectively as I see Kafka do that. And it happens in practices. It's happened in games going back to 2022. Like, I think that's what accounts for what K-Mac is talking about. To me, the best positive on defense for the Giants is Abdul Carter right now. The best positive is that Mike Kafka is calling the plays. All right, so let's see. GCN says, yeah, not good that all these injuries before the season starts. Yeah, the hope, the cross your fingers for Giants fans is that they're playing it right to get them there when it counts. Intel thinks the Giants will be better than the Jets. Mike wants to know if there's any idea on why Deonte Banks, the Giants' former first-round pick at corner, is struggling so much with turning his head. I feel like he'd be much better already, not giving up as many catches if he turned his head. Hopefully, Marquand Manuel can fix it. So, Antoine, I don't know how you feel about this. What I see is Banks is physical and like physically, he overpowers receivers at times. He just has a problem with finding the ball. I don't know if you feel like this is something that Manuel could help him with or that you've seen players adjust to better, or is there a reason why Sauce or other guys that you've covered are so good at it? But it really does seem to be one key thing that's hindering Banks here.
What's funny is like Markel Manuel was with the Jets previously, so like I can actually get like chime in on this too. Like so, yeah, I think it's more or less like just a technique thing that certain teams teach, and it seems like I think I thought the Jets for the most part did a good job with that. Like I think their defensive backs have been really like you talk about a lot of different areas the Jets need to improve on. Like that was not one of them. Like I thought Manuel was one of their better position coaches there. So for the
Hmm.
Jets, for the Giants to get him, when they did, like I actually think that's a good get for him, and I think he'll definitely help Banks and the rest of the secondary out there a lot because like again, like the Jets, have been up and down. Even the defense was up and down at the times after they fired Salah last year. But I feel like for the most part, their secondary, like what do you talk about, Sauce or DJ Reed was there, and other people like they also they played consistently well.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Giants. with Deontay Banks. He's in that battle for that cornerback two spot, and he's the only healthy one battling for it. Cordell Flaw's not healthy, but
Yeah.
there's a I would say it best this way with Banks. The physical part of the game he can do, the mental part of the game, the recognition of what's coming, the anticipation, those are the things that can be a step slow that you really need to correct. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But good insight from you on who's coaching him, and maybe that can help him
The
on the
Jets are kind of
way.
going through a similar situation with Brandon Stevens at the moment, somebody that really struggled with that last year with the Ravens, and now he's come over there, and then they've kind of taught him the right way about just turning his head the right way, and then that makes all the difference. And I think you've seen him play
Wow.
really well, like throughout the course of training camp because of that.
Mike, great point. Joe says he thinks the Jets will have a better season because they have a good O line and will run the ball. Giants have no QB and a broken down O line. That's one big question for the Giants is running back the same O line. How's that going to work out, right? Mike says he thinks that Commanders win last year was a fluke. They are very beatable. Let's see. Intel thinks the Giants can win 10 or 11 games because of the defense.
What?
GCN says, how about this one? GCN says, Pat, the Giants could trade Jameis Winston to the Jets.
I
All
actually
right.
was gonna mention that too. I was
Now
like,
we're
yeah,
turning it up. Let's go. Let's go.
depending
Antoine, is this
on
a possibility?
yeah, depending on how the extent of Tyrod Taylor's injury, like, yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, they would need a backup at that point, and you need a veteran that can come in, like, can play games. And even though I mean, I know Jameis has had his issues, but he can come in and start for a game if you need him to. So yeah, I think that would be the ideal situation if it need be.
Yeah, and he's got Jameis got the he's just moved up here. That's a trade that, keeps his life on the even keel. Doesn't have to leave New York because he just got here. And man, that fits nicely.
And I'm gonna tell you real quick, just
GCN might have broken news just now, like 5 days early on
from
talking
a
about.
personal standpoint, I would, as a reporter, I would love that because I would go up to Jameis Winston like every week and then like ask him something. Like I might even not, I wouldn't even use it in the article, not always, but I would just
100%.
have to talk to. It's just somebody like like it's certain guys you go up to the locker room, like you might not use like the quote, but you just go up and talk to them just to see like what they say.
That's well said. That's well said. Love it. Yeah. No, I mean, Antoine, obviously on the flip side, I would be devastated because like he's really the only slash most exciting thing in this Giants locker room right now. So, but it really,
The
he
man's a
doesn't,
walking quote. He's a walking quote.
he is. He also though, like to GCN's point, to your point, he doesn't fit on this team. Like I've said it ever since the
Yeah,
draft. Like really, you can see they added him along with Wilson in case the draft didn't go the way they wanted it to,
correct.
but they got a quarterback there.
Yeah.
So it's either, hey, give the guy a chance to compete for the job. But if not, like this idea that people are bringing up, I want your opinion on this. There has been talk, and I've talked about it before about like, okay, if let's say Russell Wilson struggles early, there's a section of the Giants fan base that says, hey, Jameis is signed for 2 years. Like Russell's only signed for 1 year. Jameis is signed for 2 years at a cheap number. So if Russell struggles, put Jameis in and then keep Dart on the bench, developing, groom him for 2026. Do you envision that in any way being possible? And I do not, but like,
I
do
don't
you?
either.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, my thing is, if it doesn't work with Russell, just throw Dart out there. Like, just throw him out there. See, like at some point, you got to see if these guys can like sink or swim. Like, and I think he's played enough football in his career, especially in college, where him getting thrown out to the fire, I don't think it's necessarily gonna deter him or like it's not gonna be a detriment. Like I think he'll be fine. Like I think he'll be able to he might struggle a little bit, but I think eventually he'll find his way and become a starting quarterback. Like some guys you worry about, like you throw him in there a little bit too quickly, like Zach Wilson, like talking about the Jets, like throw him in there a little bit too quickly. But I don't think he had nearly the experience that Jackson Dart did. Jackson Dart had a ton of experience coming out of college, so I think he's fine in that aspect. But yeah, if this doesn't work with Russell, then you got to throw Jameis out there. I mean, you got to throw Jackson Dart out there, and Jameis, like it is so many teams that need a backup quarterback. I look at the Dolphins got Zach Wilson as the backup quarterback. They are a tour injury away, a hit away from being Zach Wilson being your starting quarterback. Just know how scary of a proposition that is. I'm just gonna leave it
The
at that.
I can see how worried you are about the Dolphins right now, man. It's all coming out right now.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not worried about them. I'm just
You
telling
are
you what it
worried about
is.
them.
I'm just telling you what it is. Like, they are a hit away from Zach Wilson being their starting quarterback, and
No,
we
they
see. I've seen that story. I've lived this story.
some dead man walking down there in Miami. All
Especially
right,
when you
so
got a coach and a GM on the hot seat. So yeah,
no, exactly. All right, some good questions in here. Let's try to get through them here. Barb says, "Oh, by the way, we have a trivia question coming up. So for those of you in here, stick around. Soon I will drop the hooks, rubs, and spices Giants trivia question of the day." Barb says, "Giants will beat Washington. Has anyone looked at the quarterbacks Daniels beat last year?" Yeah, no, it is interesting. They did beat a lot of teams that were beatable, right? Panthers, Bears, Giants twice, by the way,
yeah,
Titans, Saints, etc. He did beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals 38-33 in week 3 on primetime, though.
yeah. That
um,
game was insane, by the way. So yeah, I mean, he played the schedule that that was up against him. So I mean, it
yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, and then in the playoffs they beat the Buccaneers and the Lions. So,
Yeah, they
I
both
mean,
raced the Lions. Like
yeah, so Barb, you're right. You're right about the regular season schedule with a lot of favorable matchups, but I mean, come on. They beat Jared Goff and the Lions were scoring like over 30 a game. And then the
correct.
Buccaneers were one of the hotter teams in the league down the stretch. So,
They went up early in that game too. Like they were a bit time before the half. Like so they were like they got on it early in that game too, if I
yep.
remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Mike is basically saying he's pumped about Abdul Carter, no doubt. Let's see. Do I think Daboll is building a fundamentally sound unit? Um, do I think he's building a fundamentally sound unit? I think he's trying to. I'm wondering if it's too late, though. He is trying some different tactics. He's pulling guys out of drills, as Antoine said, Aaron Glenn's doing with penalties and things off the field. Could be too late. We will see. K-Mac wants to know how important Evan Neal's reps are versus the Jets this week. Disappointed he didn't play versus the Bills. Yeah, no, he's competing at guard now, and he was banged up, so he couldn't play against the Bills. Fact of the matter is, K-Mac, he hasn't been great when he's been on the field either, so he's running out of time.
I'll
Ben's,
say this too, like it's he won't face Quentin Williams most likely because like Quentin's having dealing with a calf injury, so he'll get uh he'll
oh,
get a little
bummer.
bit of a reprieve there. Yeah, so like
Oh, we
he
don't
won't
get to
get.
see Quinnen? Ah, bummer.
Nah, probably not. Yeah, I think they're gonna hold him out to the regular calf injuries, especially considering what we've seen in the NBA. Like it's really delicate. Yeah, you don't want to necessarily mess around with that.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. All right. Okay, let's do the trivia question. Let's do the trivia question quickly here. Antoine, if you can hang for a few more minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I got a couple
We'll
more minutes.
we'll
Yeah,
do the trivia question and then we'll knock out a few more commenters and questions. If you have another question
yeah.
for Antoine or me, jump in and drop it now. Super chat, super stickers get you elevated. This Giants trivia question is brought to you. It's actually a Jets trivia question too. It's brought to you by Hooks, Rubs, and Spices, owned and operated by Jared, a Giants fan from Houston, diehard Giants fan. Whether you're home gating or hosting the Giants crew in the lot, Hooks, Rubs, and Spices gives your grill serious flavor with their bold seasoning lineup, all natural, no junk, and big Texas barbecue flavor to keep fans coming back for seconds, like smoked wings, cheesy nachos, flat top burgers, ribs, brisket sandwiches, all dusted with Hooks signature rubs. The code at hooksrub.com is talkingball25. That's 15% discount when you use that code. Follow Hooks at Hooks Rub, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe, activate your pregame playlist, and join the Flavor Fam. Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. We smoke meat. And I believe Jared from Hooks, Rubs, and Spices is going to be giving away his midnight award-winning
Oh,
flavor.
sweet. Okay.
Yeah. So we got Hooks, Rubs,
I'm
and
a
Spices.
barbecue guy, so yeah, that's awesome.
Yo, we might got to get some Hooks, Rubs over to Antoine. So the midnight
Yeah, yeah,
flavor.
you do.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
I
you
do.
do.
It's a fan favorite, created the award winning Midnight Rub to flip the script on the seasoning game. Tangy herbs, zesty spices, and the salt of the earth highlight this amazing blend. Gives you the darkest of secret ingredients for any dish. You can enjoy this on everything, but especially on beef, bacon, pork,
Mm.
chicken, turkey, veggies, fries, and snacks. Sounds like I'm gonna have to bring some hooks out to Florham Park tomorrow, Antoine.
You might have to because yeah, I'm from North Carolina originally, so like I'm big on barbecue. So
Let's
yeah,
go.
definitely for
All
sure.
right. So this is so we're getting in the weeds a little bit, but we got diehard Giants fans on here and football fans. All right. So I'm not going to tell you what the game was, but if you're a Giants fan, you know. Here's the question. The last time, whether it's regular season or preseason, the last time that the Giants won a game against the Jets, either regular season or preseason, what is the name of the Giants' leading receiver in that game? So it's the last time the Giants beat the Jets, whether it's regular season or
I
preseason.
actually know who this is too, but I'm not gonna say it. I won't say it
You
again.
know
But
that off
I
the
know,
top
I
of your
know.
head?
I do actually. I
Oh
do.
my Antoine, I know
I'm a bit of
you're
a nerd. I'm a bit of
I
a
know
nerd.
you
So yeah,
know I know you know ball, but that's crazy. So all right.
I know
He,
exactly who it is.
all right. So Antoine's gonna win hooks rubs just for knowing it. I already know he knows by saying it that confidently, that quickly. So the way we play this, guys, you got to drop the answer in the queue, and the first person to drop the answer in the queue gets it right. All right, I see people saying Victor Cruz. No, this is preseason or regular season. So the last time the Giants beat the Jets, whether it's preseason or regular season, who was the leading receiver? All right, I'm going to jump back into the queue. We'll check the answers down there. Antoine, just for the honor system, I need you to text me the answer right now to make sure you know it.
All
All
right, hold
right.
on. Like
You got to text me
I
that answer right now.
all right, hold on. All right, hold on.
Just because you guys all know, it can't be like someone gets it and then Antoine's like, exactly, right? You can't have it like that.
All right, hold on.
All right. So let's jump back into the queue. I think people are going to be searching and looking this up. I don't think everyone's got it at the tip of their tongue like Antoine does. All right. Mike wants to know if Andrew Thomas can be ready for week one. He's supposed to be. We will see. We're not there yet. Are the Giants going to use Abdul Carter like Nick Bosa, who only plays on one side, or have him play both sides of the ball? No, he's going to move all over the place. They're going to use him inside, outside, and blitzing off ball. So excited to see that. All right. Ben asks me and Antoine a question. He says, Ant
What's
and
up?
Pat. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. You're good. You're good.
No, go ahead.
Look,
What's I want to see the question. Hold on. Both
Antoine's
Giants.
Antoine's Googling the answer right now, man. He's not even texting me. He's Googling it.
I
Uh,
would I want to
uh,
make sure I'm right though. Like I want to make sure I'm right
no, he's
first of
double
all.
checking it. Oh, no. All
I
right.
am I
So,
am I am checking it though just to make
no,
sure I'm
you got to
right.
text me the name. All right. No, that's a violation. All right.
I was not wrong. I was not right actually.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
had somebody else.
All
I had
right.
somebody else.
So,
So
Ben
yeah.
says Antoine and Pat, both the Giants and the Jets play New England this year. How do you think the New York teams stack up against them? I'll go first. I'll say,
Okay, go
you
ahead.
know, I'll say that when I saw Mike Vrabel coach against the Giants in the regular season, Brian Dable situationally outcoached him down the stretch of the game. And Brian Dable doesn't situationally outcoach a lot of head coaches. I'll just be honest, like he does not. So I remember that. I will say, I think Drake May has something to him.
Yeah.
He has to show me, though. So I think that a strong defense and a strong pass rush, again, it always comes back to this with this year's Giants, but I think if the pass rush is what they hope it is, I would like the Giants' chances to get after a young quarterback who's still growing. And Vrabel, although his teams are tough and the Patriots will be improved, like I think that'll be a game. Like I don't view that as an unwinnable game for the Giants in any way. What about you, Antoine?
No, no, I don't. I mean, I think the Jet. It's a world where I think the Jets and Patriots could split. You know, the series. Like it's funny. Like last year was like two different games between the Jets and Patriots. Like the first game they played Jacoby Brissett, he was the quarterback, and then the second game I watched Drake May pretty much carve up that Jets defense. Like in the first quarter, like he was dealing. Like he
Mm.
led the team to a touchdown. Like he was really going until he suffered concussion that game. He ended up being out of that game. Brissett came in, ended up leading the Patriots to the win over the Jets too. That's probably the moment where I knew the Jets season was over because I was like, you losing to the Patriots and Brissett come in. I was like, yeah, this is done. And then I think that was Hassan Reddick his first game, but I think the Patriots are a much improved team. I think they're going to be much better coach, obviously under Vrabel. Like I think Drake. I think Drake May is going to be really good. I really do. Now that they gotten some weapons around them too, you're getting Stephon Diggs as well. Getting drafting Henderson out of Ohio State too, the running back as well to go along with Stevens. They proved the offensive line with Will Campbell, who I thought was the best offensive lineman in this draft. So yeah, I think the Patriots are in a good spot. I think they're going to finish second in the division. Like I really do. Like a lot of people think Miami might, but I think the Dolphins are a lot like the Jets last year. I think there's a lot of dysfunction there. I think there's a lot of turmoil. I think, Tyreek Hill, basically quit on his team a year ago and you bring him back and now you're trying to incorporate him with a quarterback in Tua, which, also on the hot seat, but it doesn't seem like they're maybe on the same page there. It's a lot going on with the Dolphins right now. And not to mention their secondary is depleted. Like they have no secondary whatsoever right now. So like I think it's a world where the Dolphins can finish in last place in that division. I think the Jets have a chance to finish at least third, if not, contend for that second spot with the Patriots.
Interesting, interesting. Antoine, did you watch the Pro Bowl games by any chance?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't usually watch like the actual game, but my son was into it this year, and I watched, and Neighbors was in it, and I mean he was showing out. I can't get this out of my head. They benched Drake May in that game. Like they put him in a
Yeah,
flag
that's right.
football.
That's right.
They
Yeah,
put him in
yeah.
a flag football game, and he threw so many picks. They took him back out, and I just I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah,
Like
that was probably the worst I've seen them play, like college or NFL wise. But yeah, that was pretty bad.
I just feel no one talks about that, and it probably doesn't matter. It's not real football, but like, man, like, and everything else, I like you said, so much you see about them and you hear about them, you believe, but I can't get that out of my head. So first of all, Antoine, usually I ask these trivia questions, somebody answers it in 30 seconds. No one has gotten the answer yet. The question again is the last time the Giants beat the Jets, whether it's regular season or preseason, who was the Giants' leading receiver in that game? All right, I'll
Yeah,
give you guys a
I was surprised when I googled it. I was like, I was wrong. So I was like, okay, like fuck, like
that's
it was
fair.
not good.
That's
Yeah,
fair. That's fair. No, yeah, it's
yeah.
it's it's really in the weeds. All right. Joey B checks in with a super chat, says
Oh
Antoine,
come
Duke
on,
or
UNC,
UNC?
UNC. Like it's not like I grew up. My entire family went to Duke. So like long story short, so I actually hated Duke because of that reason. I was going to go to UNC. The only reason I did not go to UNC and went to East Carolina instead, I graduated early. Back then, when I
Mm.
graduated high school early, you could not start at UNC for whatever reason. They wouldn't allow like freshmen to start in January. So ECU was like, you know what? We have the same curriculum. Come on to ECU. Like you can start in January. I'm like, okay, and it's a party school. Like, so that's basically how I ended up at East Carolina instead of UNC.
Wow, wow. So
Yeah.
Tar Heels all day.
Oh yeah, like yeah, I hate Duke. Like my whole family loves Duke, but I can't stand them. I can't. I really can't.
Oh man, I love it. All right, good question, Joe. Joey B says not football related, but a dad brag. Oldest daughter accepted the graduate assistant job at St. Bonaventure today to coach
Oh
women's
wow.
basketball. Get her master's for free. Proud dad. Good for you,
Yeah,
Joey
yeah.
B.
That's awesome.
Congratulations, man.
That's
Congrats to the
amazing.
fam. That is awesome. Big Dash says Pat has the support of New Jersey Italian roofers. That's right. Exactly. Let's see. All right. T. Patrick says bench start until you draft at least two more competent linemen. That's fair. D. Kit says he's going to get this trivia question. It sounds like he's feeling confident. I think he was feeling confident when he thought it was regular season. Man, K Mac says, great question. I'm stumped. Well, the reason it's hard is because you're trying to think of the last time they beat him. and it was a long time ago. So I'm going to help you guys out. The Giants have lost 4 straight preseason games to the Jets, and they've lost 6 straight games to them total. So 4 preseason, 2 regular season. They haven't beaten them since the preseason of 2019. That is the final hint
Yeah.
because
So
someone's
that's
got
the
to get
Gates era. That's the
there.
Gates era. So
Wait, there he is. K Saint, TJ Jones, Notre Dame's own TJ Jones, going off for 6 catches on 6 targets for 72 yards and a touchdown. K Saint, here's the deal. You're going to DM me on Instagram. PL on NFL is the handle. Direct message me your name, your address, and your email. And I'll get that over to Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. And they're going to send you, as I said, some midnight. I'm gonna maybe have to bring some midnight over to Antoine at Florham Park tomorrow.
yes, you will. Yeah, you definitely will.
Oh man, that was a great. That was
Of
great.
course, they had to be a Notre Dame guy too, which I saw. I was like, yeah, yeah.
that
Of
didn't
course, you had that in there.
that did not hurt the trivia that I chose, Antoine. Exactly, exactly. All right, Antoine, you've given us plenty of your time, man. Thank you so much for
For
being here
you, like,
today.
yeah, like for you, like I'll do it, but other people probably not. But yeah,
No, I appreciate it. All right, so wait, final question as you head out.
what's up?
How damn early do I have to get to the Jets tomorrow? Because Dable's talking at 9:30. I think Aaron Glenn talks at like 5 a.m. Like I gotta park a mile away. I gotta take a shuttle. Like, what is
Do,
this? What time?
do
Times I
you
gotta get there?
do you know about the parking? We can talk about that offline too, but I don't know if you know about the parking situation.
I
Like if
did.
you,
I've
okay,
heard.
you
I've
do.
heard it's like a park and walk or park and
Yeah,
ride.
yeah. We if you don't have the address, just text me or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be a long. It's not gonna be too long of a day, but for y'all, like I think Dave all talks early, like before practice, right?
Yeah, he
So
goes
like I wish
9:30.
I wish Glenn's gonna do it afterwards. But so I guess like I'll probably get there about 9 because I like to be there early. Just simply because I know it's going to be a headache and it's going to be a lot of people there and the buses and everything like that. So I'm definitely getting there at 9. Like I had to pick up, Evan Barnes, who covers the Giants for Newsday. Like he's coming off the train, so I'm actually going to pick him up and then driving him to the facility.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because he's taking the train in. He lives in Brooklyn, so he's taking the train in from Brooklyn to the city, like to Jersey. Yeah, it's crazy,
Ooh,
right? Yeah. So I
ooh.
told her like I feel like I'd be a good friend and then just pick him up.
You're good. Yo, that talk about that's more than a good friend. Good for you. No, hey, listen, everybody, please follow Antoine wherever you are, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media you're at. Follow Antoine, read him in the New York Daily News. He knows a ton about the league, about the Jets. He's there every day. D Kit, thanks, Antoine. Everybody in the chat, thanks, Antoine. Antwan Staley, everybody from New York Daily News. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, and I'll bring you some hooks, rubs, and spices for the grill.
Hell yeah, man! Like yeah, I appreciate it, man. But yeah, just we're gonna have a lot of fun the next couple of days. Like I look forward to it.
You're the man, Antoine. What are your handles, by the way? Joey B is asking. Post his
Uh,
handles,
just,
he says.
just my name, Antoine Staley, AntwanStaley. You can find me at all social media platforms, X, Instagram, everywhere. So that's just my handle.
Appreciate you. All right. Take care, Antoine. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, D Kid says he's got my follow, knows his stuff, no doubt about it. Yeah, he says, good question, Pat, you sadist. Yeah, sorry about that. Well, here's the thing. If I ask a trivia question and it's too easy, I feel like then it just becomes a race to people like Googling something. So then I try to get something a little bit obscure. And I was talking to Jared earlier. He was like, hey, let's go back a ways a little bit for this trivia question. I probably didn't go back far enough, but that was fun. I usually feel like it's best when people really have to work for it. But you guys are the best. All right, let's see. Before we get out of here, want to answer our final questions. Want to tell you too, I've talked to you about my bookie. So first of all, you don't have to live in New Jersey, New York, tri-state area. My bookie, wherever you are, go on to my bookie, sign up, use the LEONARD, my last name Leonard code. You get a welcome boost and you get the best odds. And there's a lot of games you can play there. You just can't play at some of these other books. So go to MyBookie today, use the Leonard code. You see them scrolling across the bottom. There's hooks, rubs, and spices we've talked about. Talking Ball is the code at hooksrub.com. Get the discount there. And then there's Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally feel a post-workout like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. They also have the cold teas now for the summer, which are awesome, a huge hit. You can find a little bit more information about them on my Instagram account, PL on NFL. Boomchaga.com. Start feeling the difference today. Use that code TalkingBall25 on subscribe and save. All right, let's see. Joe says, Pat, New England should be a playoff team. They spent $360 million on free agents and had 11 draft picks. They should beat both. Patriots have a good head coach. Giants head coach is bad. Ben agrees that Miami will underachieve. JFed says, if Tua is healthy, I still have Miami over New England. Don't forget, Diggs is coming off the ACL. Right. GCN says they have McDaniels back. The quarterback and offense should be a lot better. Christian, yes, joint practice 2 days, Florham Park. So where the Jets are, joint practice, Giants, Jets on Tuesday in Florham Park at the Jets. And then on Wednesday, the Jets come to East Rutherford and practice against the Giants. So 2 days back-to-back, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the game on Saturday. Let's see. Shout out to Evan Barnes, no doubt, Big Dash. Let's see. Joe says, have the Daily News get you a hotel. That way you get there with no traffic. Yeah, I wish. D-Kid says, if you asked the last time the Giants O-line looked good in a preseason game, we would still be looking. Love it. Joey B says, Pat, what time do you have to be at the stadium on Saturday? I usually get there early, like earlier than the tailgates really turn up so that I can get there for those arrivals, Joey B. So it's for a 7:00 game, probably like 2:33, something like that. D-Kit says, did you give an update on Scattaboo? No. My expectation, D-Kid, is we don't see him at least in regular football until next week against the Patriots, is my guess, based on what it looked like and how much he's been on ice. But that'll be something to monitor closely this week. But yeah, I'm not optimistic about this week, but we'll see. But I'm leaning towards Patriot week. Who has more yards this season, Pat? Slayton or Wandale, says D-Kit. Slayton. Don't have to think about that one at all. Like Wandale, I just don't think Wandale is. I hope he proves me wrong. I think the challenge for him is to go from a gadget guy to a complete receiver. Part of that is the usage of him, the routes he runs. It was encouraging to see him run kind of like a downfield stop route and catch one from Russell Wilson in the first game. That was exciting and encouraging. So we'll see if they can use him that way. And if, he's had some rough days recently in camp. I like Slayton though. Downfield, they push the ball. But yeah, I think they need more in the slot. We'll see though. Let's see. Joey B. Yeah, no, we'll circle back. Maybe we get some food before I get into the stadium. That would be nice. You want Odell here. I don't know if Odell has the juice anymore. We'll see though. Who has more receptions, Hyatt or Graham Gano, says D-Kit. Man, D-Kit, you're tough. I love it. That was concerning, though, that he didn't participate in that game. That was concerning. Did not love to see that. He needs the reps, as I think it was Hunter or somebody in our last chat said that after the game. He needs those reps. One good piece of news, like Art Green, who hasn't been practicing, saw him post some things about having a baby on social media. So I think his absence recently was just paternity related, and he's had a really good spring and a summer. And Joe Shane pointed him out as their fifth corner behind the top four or at the moment at least, of Adebo, Banks / Slot and Phillips. So, Art Green, I would expect to be back at practices this week, and a guy who they need on both special teams and defense. Guys, this has been awesome. This is Talking Ball Live with Pat Leonard. Antwan Staley was kind enough to join us from the New York Daily News. Really excited to have him here. I thought it was a great chat tonight. You guys are awesome. Really grateful to all the super chatters. Jay Farries kicked us off. Tuto, Connor, Novice, Biondo Contracting dropped a 50 spot. Really appreciate you guys. That was awesome. Can't thank you enough. What else do we have? Yeah, Novice and Joey B coming in on the back end as well. So grateful to what we're building here, what we have built. The Giants and the Jets are going to show us a lot in this week. And player participation is something I'm watching closely, the injuries, but also that quarterback spot and how Daboll's team comes out of this against a team that is, as you heard Antoine say, extremely physical. Aaron Glenn pushing the physicality of it. And so if I come out with anything out of this podcast, it is the emphasis on physicality that the Jets are bringing. I'm curious how the Giants are going to hold up to that. D-Kit says, good pod, Pat. Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you, D-Kit. OG, and I'm a fan, all about it. Joey B wants me to ask Graham Gano about Rudy, his sommelier at the Panthers. Met him on vacation in Mexico. He was working at the resort. I absolutely will do that. Joey B says he needs a Talking Ball shirt or hat with by my birthday in week 3, Pat. You're on the clock. You will have one by then, Joey B. I promise you. This is Pat Leonard from the Talking Ball with Pat Leonard podcast and New York Daily News. This has been brought to you by MyBookie, Hooks, Rubs, and Spices, and Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, as well as Sal Loretta for Men. Signing off here. Thank you so much for being here on Talking Ball Live. We'll see you next time, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, to review the joint practices. And by the way, check all the social media feeds on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll be bringing it to you as quickly as I can, all the information and analysis. And honestly, if I have to go live impromptu from Florham Park tomorrow, I will, if something's that important that we see on the field. So stay tuned. Put those notifications on if you're following on YouTube, because I'll be bringing you the latest. This is the #1 place for Giants and NFL news. See you next time.